Right now I'm with the documentary filmmaker Nathan Miller.
What's up?
Yes, man. Thank you so much for coming through.
It's all love.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
On releasing your documentary. It's
Thank
doing
you.
so well at the moment.
Yeah,
Don't you
it's
think?
doing numbers, man.
Yeah, man. I just want to basically start off with, when did this actual thought of you deciding to make this documentary come into place? Like, when did you decide, okay, cool, I'm going to make a documentary?
I've been doing documentaries for like 3 years now,
Okay.
I'd say. But London came about when I was watching Dave perform.
Okay.
I was watching him at a New Gen show, and I was tipsy. And my boy was like, "What's the next piece? What's the next piece?" And a bunch of people have been asking me. And so I was like, you know what? I was watching Dave perform, and I was like, you know what? This is it. I'm gonna do a piece about London, and that was in like September times.
Yeah.
And then ever since then, it's just been
Wait, September 2016?
yeah, it wasn't too long ago.
You know what, yeah, I feel like you see such a piece because you've got so many artists. I feel like you were gonna tell me like 2 years ago.
Oh,
or I think since the beginning, or you know what I mean, like.
Nah, I'm on job, man. Yeah, nah, not 2 years, but it took me 6 months. So it took me 5 months to film and 1 month to edit.
Ooh,
Yeah.
cool. So talk to me about the whole purpose behind this entire documentary. It's called LDN.
Yes, sir.
Before you listen, before people watch it, what do you want people to know or expect to watch when they actually,
I can say that it's not like any other music documentary you've seen about the scene right now. And what I mean by that is many docs come out and they show a lot of love to Skepta and the grime evolution, which is great. But I wanted to shine a light on the other sounds coming from London and talk to the people that a lot of people haven't actually spoke to. So I've got a bunch of people who you will know, but you'd also be surprised to think that no one's even spoke to them yet. So yeah, I'm glad to say I'm like the first one to have a lot of the people on board on the show. I mean, on the doc.
I must say that I agree with you that nothing like this has come out yet. And I feel like you documented, or you showed people what's needed, like what the artists were speaking about and what they do on a day-to-day basis, or what they do while they're working. The way how you documented it was perfect.
Love, man.
I just want to know, how are we so well connected? I mean, like, what relations did you have before this? I'm very curious.
Well, before this, I released a piece called Scythe.
Okay.
And Scythe is a documentary about a DJ out in New York who signed to Rock Nation. He was actually the one who discovered Rihanna.
Okay.
And so people within the scene knew of that.
Yeah.
So when I came back, obviously, you know how it is when you grow up in inner city London, man. You know someone that raps, and chances are you know someone that's doing well. So the first few people I reached out to was like Vicky Grout, Koji Radical, and then Huss's team. Shout out those guys. They were actually the first people who I didn't know personally to say
because they're actually my guys. And
I know.
I was like, bro, like, when did this happen? It's like, it was like, how did you reach out to them, or like did you? I emailed Kido and Mo, and then they were like, yeah, cool, we're down. When I got Huss on board, then it was just a matter of sending emails out, and because when you can throw a name in, it just kind of changes the way people are going to respond to it. So it's like a sheep effect. Almost.
But you will find out that like there's a lot of people who were meant to be in it and they weren't in it. But and it just kind of happened like that, and then you meet people, and then every single artist in London, there's a story of how I met them. Okay. And there's 18, so it's gonna be a long thing for I list them all out. But
in terms of like Huss, I love the way how you kind of portrayed him, because he's a very mysterious guy in a public figure, innit?
Yeah.
So the way how you documented him, and the small scene that you put him in, it showed a side whereby people don't really know, and I really like appreciate that as well, innit?
Yeah.
But cool. So like you've got people like Vicky Grout, you've got S&E, you've got Koji Radical, you got Huss, you got 6-7. Were some of the shots like shot just at a random event, or did you hit them up saying, yo, can I get a press pass? And then like how did that go?
I'll tell you 6-7's one. So 6-7's one, I was going to film with Belly Squad. Yeah. So I was going to a club in Essex. Yeah. And then just as I'm about to get on the train, I get a call from their manager. And they're like, yo, our videographer dropped out. I know you want to get some shots of us and stuff. Is there any chance you can come to Brixton Hill? meet us, and then we'll drive there. And so when I went there, they didn't know who I was, you know what I mean? I just pulled up, and then I got in the car with them. It was quite
was it awkward?
It was low-key kind of awkward still. They didn't know me, but once I met them one time, I met them again, then he started getting a little more comfortable with me, and then now I know all of them. But so that's how that happened. And it's stories like that throughout the whole thing.
What would you say would, like, after you've documented this person, who was the artist that you felt, oh my days, like I was actually chilling with him, he's gonna be on my documentary, he's actually a sick person? Who would you think out of all the artists that you got falls into that category?
For me personally, the one who I got most excited about with the confirmation was Reekz MB.
Okay.
And the reason why is because he don't do interviews, you know what I mean? He doesn't do interviews. He's quite elusive, and again, like when I went to go meet him down in Stockwell, you have this like
something's gonna,
you know what I
mean,
you have an idea of like what to expect, but we sat there for like a good like 50 minutes talking, and it was a good conversation. It was one of the best interviews I did in the whole doc. One of these days, maybe like a year or two, I'll release them in full, because a lot of them said a lot of stuff. There's so much stuff that didn't get into the doc, but man, there's got some.
There's only so much you can.
There's only so much you can say. Like everyone was talking for like 50 minutes, but the documentary's 46 minutes. You know, so you know what I'm saying.
All right then, talk to me about like your previous documentary. Let's kind of get like a background history of Nathan Miller.
Okay, so my first documentary was a piece called Prologue, and that was a piece shadowing Koji Radical, my friend Isaac Dankwa. And
he's your friend?
he's my guy, man. And a poet called Sully Breaks. Shout out Sully. And then from then I went out to the US and I filmed the Cypher Sounds piece. So that was with a lot of the Hot 97 crew. So it was like Peter Rosenberg, Laura Stiles, and DJ Drewski. And then whilst I was doing that, I met like Flatbush Zombies and Fat Joe and whatnot. And then I done some stuff for the Ace Hotel. So I was traveling quite a lot last year. I was in the States quite a bit. And then I came back and I was like, man, I have to do something about London again. So in a nutshell, that's the story in a nutshell.
Let's talk about the challenges in, you know, just making a documentary. Just in terms of, so now look, you've put in your hard work, you know, you've been working on it. So now it's been released. What is the immediate expectations from it? Like, in terms of other people pushing it and that, like how, you know, how do you go about it in terms, because I've noticed that you've got like really good press and like loads of people have been pushing it. Was that something you did behind the scenes to make that happen, or was it simply because the work was so good that
it was a bit of both? It was a bit of both. One thing about me is, if like I tend to keep relations with people I meet, like if you meet me, I don't know, I'm just good at keeping up relations. So basically, a friend out in the US who wrote up about the Cypher Sounds piece, she was the one who put the piece out on XXL. And then other than that, the rest of the pressures came because it was a good piece. I reached out to a lady named Amy from Fader, and so she said, we'll definitely do a piece about it. But everything else I didn't know was going to happen, you know what I mean? Link Up have been very supportive as well. They've been like sharing the trailers. I know Abdi TV ain't press, but he's the plug, and he's been pushing it from the get-go too.
Shout out to Abdi TV.
Yes sir. And then a lot of the times I didn't even know all this stuff was happening. I was writing like Nathan Miller London, they weren't even tagging me, but I was seeing it was like top news story, and you know what I mean, so it was cool.
So just basically to all those, you know, basically to everyone that wants to get into, you know, documentary filming and, you know, start putting out their own work independently, because to be honest, you've done it. Did you have like a team behind you, or like was it?
Nah, so it was me and my friend Anthony. And so I'd say like 70% of the time I was filming, Anthony would be there. And then Jevon hooked up like the sound and stuff, so he let me kind of go into like his little archives and just like I became friends with a lot of these guys as I was filming it. Jevon I didn't know when I was filming Nige, and I happened to meet him in the studio, and then I went to the studio again and it was just me and him, and then like from then I just became friends with him, and that's actually how Nines got into the piece as well, even though he doesn't have a spoken role. Like he was
just there during
literally one thing I must say is, when this music scene is it's like being in a youth club, but the youth club is full of like stars within like our realm, so like I didn't even know he was pulling up, and then they just wound up working on the album and I was just watching him do it, you know. But yeah, sorry, you was asking advice on it? Or?
Yeah. Let's go. We'll get into what we were talking about right now. Then let's talk about that advice.
The advice. All right, cool. The one thing I'd say is just set yourself a goal, set yourself a deadline, and then just stick to that. And it's probably best you don't ask for much opinion, because if you ask for opinion, you're probably never going to get started.
Yeah.
Because when I first started telling people about this project, I know how I am, so I'm just going to work on it regardless. But when I told people I'm doing a piece about London music, they were like, okay, cool, a grime thing. And I'm like, no, it's not a grime doc. And they're like, so who you getting? I named a few people, but I didn't know if there was going to be in it. And they're like, so what's the story? And I'm like, I don't know what the story is yet, because they haven't, like, I build the story off answers that they give me. And so, yeah, man, if you're listening, you want to get into this kind of stuff, just best thing to do is just get up and do it. And there's no better way of introducing yourself when people actually know your work as well. So yeah.
Also, in terms of, because you were basically playing things that are now currently on people's albums.
Yeah.
In terms of permissions and that, was there an issue? Was there? How did that go about?
Nah, I think. Well, actually, before London came out, a very big distribution company saw it, and they wanted to pick it up. But lengthwise, it was a little too short for them and whatnot. But if that got picked up, I would have had to have got everyone to sign a release form to say that they're happy to be in it. I would have had to find out who those girls were, who went up to us. I would have had to find, and that would have been difficult because that was in West London, and you couldn't see their school uniforms and nothing. So it would have been a myth. Then you got the music clearance and stuff, but because it's YouTube, it's like it's not that deep, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you don't all you need is probably just permission for the actual song, or even
if you get like a copyright strike, you can, which I haven't, you can dispute that, and it tends to go back to the label or the people who own the song. They get a chance to watch it, and if they see like the artists in it, like you'd have to be like a real douche to be like, nah, you can't use it. It's like,
true.
You know what I mean? If you look at like Hood documentary, they had the Skepta song for the beginning. Like he didn't get a copyright strike for that because it's not that big of a deal, you know what I mean?
Sometimes it's good press, or it's good exposure.
Exactly.
So in terms of LDN, the documentary, what's next? Like, what do you plan to now do with it?
I can tell you now that the next piece that I will be doing is back out in the States.
Okay.
I've been planning this since I say like halfway through London. But a lot of people have been requesting a sequel. A lot of people have, and I can't guarantee that I will, but I've definitely been like reading the comments and looking at who people are suggesting to me. So I don't know, it's still fresh in it. So once give it a month or so, and then I'll know for certain like what I'm working on.
If you were to do it in America, what would it be? USA? Like
nah, it'd be about an artist. It'd be about an artist. Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'm really excited to see what you do next.
Thank you.
This is actually a really good project, and
thank you.
Let's basically wrap it up and just tell everybody like your socials, where to find you. If for those who haven't watched it, just basically give them an instruction where they should look into it.
I'm proud to say if you go onto YouTube and write LDN, it will come up first. I've passed Katy Perry. If you want to find me on Instagram, it's hey look there's Nathan, and Twitter is Nathan Miller LDN.
Holler at me.
Holler at the boy.
Holla.